Malekith's first target in Immortal Empire should be Alith Anar, not Grombrindal. I know what you're thinking, you should be going up here to the east because who doesn't want a corner? But that's the trap, we want to be staying on the coastline amassing ports, which will give us so much more wealth, keep us away from this, and then we'll be ready with a dead elf, a bunch of gold, and a can-do attitude to either take out Grombrindal, but we can even befriend him and get him as an ally because you both are very short on friends here and you've got enough problems. But here we have turn 20. Last turn we gave him a bunch of gifts. We've got the reputation going up to positive and we've just managed to achieve this by gifting him Rakdo Gorge and giving him a bunch of gifts the previous turn, allowing us to sign non-aggression with him, and we could basically have a friend for life. If this is too immersion breaking for you, you can still probably curtail his anger by just gifting him the settlement, but here's one thing, you must discover him. If he discovers you, his eyes will widen and he will declare war straight away. Do not discover Grombrindal until you are ready, and I discovered him turn 19, and because all your attention should be here, and we're sitting around really happy, we've got a defensive alliance with Karond up here. She's going to pretty much start this war here for us. We can start making our way up here. Grombrindal is not going to give us any trouble, and we can hopefully take this top corner here. Really cozy start, very strong, and here we are at the very start of a brand new legendary very hard campaign with Malekith turn 1, and the first thing we want to do is get our sorceress in his army and attack this army. We can use an auto resolve for that. It's super overtuned at the moment. We want to always enslave captives almost all the time, unless you're maybe defending against a revolt. Always enslave captives, you'll almost always need them. But just a quick tip about slaves, we don't want to ever miss out on slaves by not having enough room for them. So before we attack this settlement, let's burn off a few slaves by using the Growth Diktat here at our capital. We're going to build up Naggarond itself at its capital, and we're going to go. We'll be fighting most of our fights manually, but for these early ones we can just auto resolve. We've got enough time to heal, so do that, and always loot and occupy because we want the slaves. It's worth the extra repair cost we'll have to pick up. We might lose this settlement, unlikely, but we might lose it, so we'll just get growth because that will always contribute to what we need here. Get 2 more Dark Shards for Malekith, get Route Marcher, and always maxing out Dreaded Slaver to increase our captives and working towards Burning Head with our Sorceress. Now for Edicts, make sure you be careful with how much you use the Growth Edict now because this will consume some slaves, but we're going to use it now, but we will be turning it off. We need to get Naggarond up to tier 3, which is our priority. Now with diplomacy, do not ever sign anything with Grond. They are very much hated by Valkyria. Just don't sign anything with them, it just makes you look bad. Instead, go to Karond, always sign yourself this initial trade deal. For research, always get Founded on Tyranny and continuous slave supply, just very useful to have. Just a quick reminder guys, if you are enjoying the video, please consider liking and subscribing, it really helps out. Ask any question in the comments, I answer everything, and if you'd like to talk strategy, feel free to join the Discord. Cheers. Turn 2, you might have Clan Septic try to offer you peace. Never ever take it, right? So you have Grombrindal over here. You don't ever want to do anything positive with Clan Septic. That's the one thing you have in common. You need everything you can get to make this guy like you. That's only if you're going for the Grombrindal Alliance or Grombrindal Non-Aggression Pact, which is, I agree, would be the strongest way to go here, but if you're not worried about that, you can take the peace treaty. Turn 3, and whilst we could reach this, we're not going to. Remember, we want these guys alive as a speed bump from Valkyria up the top, so make your way down to Naggarond, another 2 Dark Shards. Look at our enemies. They're pretty damn weak. I mean, there's a chance that they could come up and take it, but it's honestly, in my mind, a chance worth taking. If they do take that, yes, it will slow your growth of Naggarond, but once you're at tier 3, it doesn't really matter. Here, they'll be fighting with Grombrindal. They've got a lot to deal with. There's every chance they won't even attack this province. So we'll upgrade the capital at Hag Caldra and then turn. Turn number 4, and we can finally do some construction. We're upgrading our barracks to get that master unlock. We're going to get the resource building of marble, but we also need slave pens. I normally advise against getting these because you can increase your cap through your main buildings, but this will unlock the sacrifice to Mathlands. Absolutely essential to get up and running as soon as possible, right? So, as for Malekith himself, now if you want a power game, you can go down here and start marching on Graef, which is our next target. You'll notice that the only ones we're trading with are Haganeth and Graef, so the legendary lords. We're pretty much going to ruin most of these guys in our quest to take the coastline because we don't have time for diplomacy. What you can do is you can march on there now, but what I would do is I'm making a guide that doesn't require ludicrously tight battles, so we're going to stay here for one more turn and hard 2 more dark shards. Also, our slaves are getting a little bit low, so it's time to turn off the growth edict and then go over to control, because that won't consume excessive slaves. And turn 5, it's probably worth taking a look at our balance of power of our enemies, and he's basically got at least one mid-tier stack. Malekith, on the other hand, wants to come down to this forest here with 25% movement remaining and then hop into ambush stance. The last thing before you finish your turn is we need Burning Head for this next battle, so just make sure you still research once. You'll be guaranteed enough experience, but there you go, get Burning Head. Turn 6, let's take our Graef. Welcome to the battlefield. We've got a basic barcode formation, and we're going far along this side because those hedonistic Dark Elves forgot to build a tower here, and there is a brilliant blind spot. Also, we're going to put a chariot on the opposite end. Now, they will likely man the tower here, so just start him further back. But once the numbers get whittled down, he'll be able to go in, break in, and make sure he has guard mode turned off, because they'll derp around, they won't break through the gate. Same with Malekith, turn guard mode off, because he's going to be our sieger on this side here. Moving your formations up and making sure that the shielded units are at the front, and you don't want this formation to move far over here. You want to be nice and tight with the wall, and every time you see an arch unit, focus fire them down. They are the biggest threat to you, especially Shades. Now that you've broken through the gate with Malekith, send 1 unit of spears, 1 unit of swords, and just straight into the very front. Only 1 step in there, and this will help create some Burning Head opportunities. Watch their arc of fire. If they're going to be idiots and try to walk inside the settlement, stop them. If that all fails, you've still got these guys here. Hold alt, make them bust through, and then go to capture the city that way. Loot and occupy as always, and this is a huge step in our starting formation of holding all of the coastal provinces. This is another major capital which we need to repair. Going back to Naggarond, let's upgrade the marble quarry, and we now have enough slaves to get sacrifice to Mathlan, and we'll get our very first Black Ark over here at Naggarond. Here's your replenishment now. Here's your replenishment after your Black Ark within range turns on Dreaded Advance, and this will get you stronger sooner. We don't get the discount to Black Ark units, so don't get those. Just stick with good old-fashioned Dread Spears. That low upkeep is something you'll be really grateful for later. Turn 7, and we're about to start our expansion to the east. If you are really banged up and your army's just completely wrecked, then feel free to take an extra turn to heal, but keep in mind, you don't want to take another turn longer than that with this guide, because it's quite key to eliminate Alith Anar quite early. So, he will also force march up here. There we go, cool. We'll hire ourselves our very first master. Now, it's easy to go overboard with heroes straight away, but we'll put them inside our Black Ark and save a little bit of upkeep. So, we're building walls there. Also, in this province, hire yourself a single either Shadow or Fire Mage. That's it, we're not going to hire any troops to them, we can't afford it. Turn 8, and the Forge Bound are gone, and that's because the Drowned have taken them out. So the Drowned are always going to attack us. They are basically the enemy after Alith Anar that we'll need to deal with. He'll be in reinforcing range with his abilities, which is the main thing we want. Also, get both of your masters, and we want them to come and join the Black Ark. Now, we'll be terribly outmatched and outgunned, but here we go. We need to declare war. Drag everyone into it. And on the battlefield, we're going to be all the way along this right-hand flank. We've got some chariots there, just sitting right there. Send Malekith to the gate here. Move your sorceress a bit closer to the front here so she can get a good Burning Head shot. Come on. Yes! Take that. We've just mixed 2 together, and we're going to hire 2 brand new Dread Spears to replace the frontline losses, and we managed to preserve most of our archers, repair the buildings as per usual, make sure your admiral's in Dreaded Expanse to get that extra replenishment, and back at Naggarond, upgrade your capital. You'll notice your slave's doing quite well now, so go to Graef, and we've got a rebellion in 4 turns, so we don't want to do that as Garrison's completely beat up. Again, we're going to do a demonstration, slaughter 200 slaves publicly, and that will give us a nice boost to our public order, bring it to the positive, buying us more time to replenish the garrison, as well as grow it up. Deliver the slave drive edict in our brand new holding of Blacklight Tower. This will help us level up the province. Remember, better leveled main building means better defenses. Just leave your sorceress up here. In a few more turns, we'll be using the right, which gives us some extra experience, so just by sitting there, she'll get some levels. Turn 9, he's got no military, so we're fine with this holding here. Let's see how our favourite rats are doing, and yeah, they're neck and neck. I'd say they're still brawling away with Grombrindal. That's fine with us. Alright, so we know that we're not going to get attacked anytime soon, which means this really badly defended spot there, and this spot here aren't in too much immediate danger. Masters up. Putting them in the Black Ark will save you a bit of money. Force march as far as you can, and that'll keep you in range. So when Malekith comes and attacks, just auto-resolve that one. It's fine. Loot and occupy, you know the drill. They always had a barracks here, which means you can hire some more dark shards. So we're going to take that opportunity. So get all of your spearmen, mix them over, get rid of the one that's weakest. Bleak swords are pretty banged up. 12 dark shards should be enough, and the rest we will want as frontliners. See if you can trade with Graef. You should be checking this every turn. Finally we could without having to pay for it. Turn 10, and just remember, by having a lord inside a settlement, you have the chance to unlock Evil Choirmaster and a few other public order style benefits, and this alone is bringing our public order back to the positive, so that's handy to have. Over to Malekith, and it's now time to invade and take out Alith Anar. I want to walk straight over here. He just took that last turn. Alright, now this fight is possible, but it's really hard. Walls with being outranged is not a fun combination, and not one that I'm going to put as part of this run for that reason. Instead, we're going to put them in a situation where they will want to come to us, where we have the advantage. Turn 11, and they didn't come out, but Alith Anar managed to get away. I thought he was actually inside the settlement. We can just quite easily take this with a simple auto-resolve with minimal loss. Loot and occupy, and then repair. Either way, it's 2 turns after this to get to there, so it hasn't actually cost you anything because we can just sail down here, kill him, and then we'll get there in 2 turns regardless. And now get sacrificed to Hecate. This will just give you more experience with your mages, even if they're standing still. Turn 12. Around this time, or even as early as turn 10, you should start looking at Karond. If her relations start going like towards the negative, make sure you give her a gift to get it rolling back towards the positive, and see how much military access will cost you. That's too much, but we've given her a gift, so that will eventually get there. Drowned will typically take this middle area. When we're ready, we'll take it off them. Don't be surprised if they declare war on you and take that. That's fine. You'll hold them off at these coastal points here. Alith Anar is now on the run, and we're going to go chase him down. Battlefield, we've got our chariots over there to give a bit of distraction. We're also going to put our caster, who's now on a horse, which really does help, up on the front line, starting the battle and moving towards the corner here because we need to buy her as much time as she can to really deal the damage. Oh, that was a good one.
Awaits. Dark shards. Crush them. Black gods. Dark elves.
Alright, let's try to do as much damage to them as we can on the retreat. Didn't go bad, we wrecked him really bad, he just did not quit, so we took a fair few losses there, so we'll need to replenish as much as we can. Give us a good bump in slaves, and he still managed to survive. Damn you, Alith Anar. Alright, we'll be going right after him. So this is what you would normally be doing without this army. We're just going to leave that because I know that I can defend this. Despite the fact it's all banged up, it's going to get a couple of reinforcing bombardments from this Black Ark. Also, we're going to hire ourselves another lord here because on cue there's a rebellion right here. So here we can also hire ourselves another brand new, so she can hire 2 dark shards locally as well as 2 additional dread spears from the Black Ark. Our next step is to move out to just here. You'll see there's a sweet spot around 80% success rate of ambush, and just put Malekith in ambush stance. There, hopefully what he'll do is he'll come down and try to take this because there's nothing there, although they might try that with that first. But regardless, we should be fine. Now if you're feeling particularly daring, you can upgrade this, but the problem is the Drowned, I think they're probably out of enemies. They're out of enemies and you're kind of on the chopping block, so there's a very high chance that if you do upgrade that, she'll just take it next turn. But let's just do it. Going back to Naggarond, Graef can also be upgraded, and Naggarond itself has finally hit tier 3. Of course, we want the ports, and also we'll upgrade the Altar of Cain. Build the torture post, and that should stabilize this area. Turn 13, and it's time to take Black Creek Spire. Let's take Malekith out of ambush stance and just target the settlement itself. And on the battlefield, we're doing a similar thing to what we usually do. We're just moving up. We've got a lot of the chariots up the edge there, of course, to possibly harass, capture, whatever we need. Normally I say get renowned and feared as soon as possible because of that upkeep reduction and their campaign range, but We have an extra trick with Malekith. We can get his Tyrant line, and we're going to get Seditious or Sanguine, and that's because of the plus 15 to Dark Elf relations. What we need to do is first get rid of this rebellion, which will end up giving us a few extra slaves, which is kind of nice, and we're going to move her up just like this. And we've also got our Black Ark in range there. So if we now attack this guy from behind, use your bombardments on their Dark Shards, shut them down, they'll either hurt them or stop them from moving. So what we can do is we can get our Black Ark around here, right? And he would normally take 2 turns, but if we force march, he can get there next turn. We get him to besiege, then Malekith can reinforce, and that way we can take Karond next turn. Get rid of our injured Dreadspear, and we'll hire 2 new ones to take their place on the front line. Over in Graef, we'll want to now use the slave drive Diktat to help us get up to tier 3. We're going to get some more slaves soon, so we may as well slave off some excess. Turn 14, and we are about to finish off their final settlement, which of course is the mighty Karond. Now, if we try to attack with Malekith, the poor guy just can't reach. But that's okay, that's why we force marched our Admiral up here last turn, and here we are. Now on the battlefield, we've just got our characters here, and we just play the waiting game. So here's our army entering the battlefield. The first thing we want to do is to fan out our infantry and make a spear wall. Shield wall, I should say, and behind them, of course, getting our crossbows ready to rock and roll. And we just have to hold this spot. It's pretty damn easy. They literally gave us the capture point to start with, and as always, let's loot and occupy. An excellent edge to our empire right here, especially once we defensive ally with Karond, who now likes us enough thanks to our amazing new skill, which gives us the diplomatic relations. Cool. Upgrade your Black Ark to tier 2, which means soon it will be able to hire Dark Shards. Going to move our Sorceress down here, and there's a small chance that we could be attacked. Hard 2 more Dark Shards. We've now got enough slaves that we don't have to worry just this moment, so we're going to actually go to the Growth Edict on both Naggarond and Karond. Ha! And what did I tell you? So turn 15, and things look really bad because we've got war here, and we've got the rats here also at war with us, but let's look a little bit closer. So if we look down here, we can see that this settlement is under siege. That's got to be them, right? You look at who they're at war with, and also they've decided to take another go at me at Graef here. There's no one there defending it, so this would look really bad. We know we can defend this really well. Graef is a great city. Fire magic, shadow, and dark magic are the 3 that I believe work best with dark elves, but in a crisis situation you want one which has like a level 2 spell which will really punch up. In this case, shadow magic is a good choice. So let's hire ourselves 2 more spears here. I've never ever seen him venture past here until he's taken that. Once he takes that, you know your time's up, but we've still got a bit more time to amass a little bit more wealth. Malekith can come down here to the south to reinforce and just get himself back up to full health again. We're going to get our Black Ark and move it down to, and we'll be moving our way through here to reinforce this way. Okay, so next turn, we'll be able to get up there. Over here, hire yourself 2 more Dark Shards. Turn 16, I forgot to record, we used our Sorceress to take the Monolith, moving our Admiral in here so he could provide some bombardment support. Now where's Malekith? Well, this one guy here stops an entire army from crossing a bridge. CA, can you get this crap out of the game? This has no place in Total War. Having a single agent stop an entire army, just get rid of it, it's just dumb. So instead we've had to change our entire game plan, and now we're going to force sail down here. Also, we may only be a single turn away from uncovering Grombrindal, so we need to be on top of that. So let's move him up. We're going to get sacrificed to Cain. Will help us take care of most things, to be honest, and we'll end the turn there. Turn 17, and Naggarond is destroyed, so that's one problem fixed. Now, as you know, I had to go around because they decided to block the entrance there. They've now since moved, which is nice of them. We're going to get around this by force marching Malekith right there to the border so he can reinforce the upcoming battle, and we will bring our mage down. Loot and occupy as per usual, and we'll hire ourselves another few units there. We really need to see what's under here to be able to know what to deal with, so... Ooh, okay, so it's not nothing. I'd say he's going to come and attack them next, so let's discover him. Force march back there in case he changes his mind. Hello, Thorgrim. Okay, so he likes most of what we're about. How about, would you join our war in exchange? Nope, no interest. Okay. Wow, you're making us pay to join your wars. Holy shit. You do not like us. But we're going to need 1, 2, 3. There you go, there's 8. So close to improving. You just have to do what you can and give him what you can. If you can get it so it's above 0, that's awesome. Turn 18, and he didn't declare war on us, so that's great. So clearly it's because he's neighboring a very powerful enemy. I don't know how these rats are doing so good. Take Hotek's column, so let's do that. Oh, so Malekith backs her up, and then she can take it. Though, okay, we're gonna force march this way. Next turn, we'll just regular march on the Twisted Glade. And then that will allow her to force march and reinforce that. Let's speak to Grombrindal again and give him a couple more gifts. Come on, just get that to the positive.
Yes.
Fine.
Alright.
Okay, alright, so he won't declare war on us. Turn 19, and just like we planned before, we can't reach with this mage here, but we can put her in force march, and she can reinforce the battle that Malekith will need her help to win. Okay, so we've now made the corner of the coast. This will be an excellent springboard into Ulthuan when we are finally ready. Less angry than he was. Definitely less angry. A lot of money will do that. So the Broken Chains, we don't know either of these guys, but they're probably on their last legs. And finally, we're not having to pay thousands. These gifts are relatively cheap, so because they're all under 1,000 gold, we'll go maybe 3 or 4. Turn 20, and despite the expansion from the rats in the north, we've managed to be successful down here, taking the Drowned's capital, and we're going to go up, take this and the Beastmen who we declared war with to become more charmy with Grombrindal. We can finally put walls up here, and I think we should do that because Valkyrie the Bloody will... There you go, yeah, she'll start making her way down here, and this is why we weren't friends with Grond, is because she'll start tearing them apart quickly. It buys us some time, and hopefully we can get walls on here so we can at least make some resistance against her. Turn 21, and while their expansion did delay us, we are going to make that time back by simply using a bunch of heroes, a bunch of archers to take these 2 settlements so we can get that defensive alliance through gifting. We're going to reinforce here with her, and we will bring this Black Ark over to her Graef, and that will be the defender there. And we can even hire a few Dark Shards there for good measure. And Graef, you absolutely want this building. The face of Graef, it is really, really good. We've got the slave, so may as well sacrifice to Authority, which will increase our control over all provinces and give us a bit more loyalty. Turn 22, let's take the Circle of Destruction. Alright, that's looking great. Now, we can't take Karond simply because there's a Herdstone there. Let's double check their balance of power. That's something we can certainly deal with. So let's go hit him now while he's weak. Alright, we're going to force march this. Okay, ambush stance. She can move up in force march, and hopefully anyone else that's not there can get lured out into there. We'll hire 2 more spears from there. Let's take this now. Oh god, this fight is going forever. Now with Malekith we can take Store or Core, and now we are able to, next turn, we've just hired ourselves a Dark Mage here, and she'll be able to take Karond next turn, completing that province there. Turn number 24, and I'm pretty happy with this. This is pretty much the outline of what you do really want to achieve. We've managed to get all of the ports. We have Karond leveling up nicely, and they're all pretty stable public order wise, honestly, and anyone that's not, although I'm struggling to find one that's not, like, I'm actually really surprised. There we go, we could do fights to death to stabilize that. We just got into Karond. Let's use the slave drive edict. We have so many slaves. We've got a ton of gold. We've got 12,500 income coming in. I think we've got 3 armies kicking around here, one way or another. But the important thing is that we have just the Black Flight here. We don't go any further than Storag Core. To be honest, even this I think is a bit of an exposure. I only came here because the Herdstone was there. I needed that to colonize Karond. Now coming up here, there is one settlement we don't want because we don't even need it, and it's this one right here, and we're going to give it to Grombrindal and repair that friendship.
What business have you with a white dwarf?
I've come to make things right, mate. Rakdo Gorge is yours if you shake my hand. So dumb. Alright, and he's accepted it. And there we go, guys. We are on the course to repairing the wound between our 2 races, and there it is, coming out towards positive 35. And if you really see the need, you can gift him. I don't. Oh, you know what? Why not? Why not? Pretty poor. We want him strong, right?
Oran,
There we go, came for 66. So now we can definitely say we are well and truly on our way with a strong income, with a strong ally. He's going to be able to handle all of this, and hopefully he can just continue south here and manage this border here, allowing us to just take the north. Just above us we have Hargoneth and just a couple of gifts just to get her closer and closer to that defensive alliance that we'd really like with her. She's at war with Valkyr, so hopefully with enough heat she might even confederate if she gets beat up, but we're very defensible here, nothing's getting to us, and we're ready to jump into Ulthuan whenever we like. This is by far the right way to play Malekith in my opinion, by going around this peninsula first, expel Alith Anar, then come back. If you want to destroy Grombrindal, you can still do that too, but you'll be way more wealthy and way better equipped taking on the world's strongest dwarf in his own terrain. So that's it for this one, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you found it useful, please consider liking, subscribing, Discord in the description. This is Elven Plot Armor, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.